Please hang up and try again.
Freak Radio Network, broadcasting from the Lucas Oil Studios.
Driven by General Tire.
It's Speed Freaks. Motorsports Radio redefined with Kenny Sargent.
We love to party.
Crash Gladys.
What are we doing for the bachelorette party?
And Statman.
I am serious.
Here's the Freaks.
Oh, Freak Nation, do we have a show for you today? You got 4 hosts for Speed Freaks, and you have us in 4 different locations. Crasher, she's at the Media Center, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Statman's in Columbus, Ohio. Richard C. Suave's in Phoenix. And I'm in a home office in Indianapolis. And as we are recording the show, the Coke 600 hours is still under a lightning. Okay, the lightning delay has been lifted, and now they're going to allegedly dry the track. And we're told, again, our apologies, that we can't stay up until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to get to the finale of the Coke 600. But who needs the Coke 600 when you had a fantastic finish with the Indy 500 on Sunday? And, of course, what happened with Formula One in Monaco? We're going to get all the insight from our 2 Formula One experts, Statman and Richard C. Suave, when it comes to Formula One coming up. But, man, what a freaking finish for the Indy 500. Be sure you follow us on Twitter, of course, or as the kids call them, X, Facebook, Instagram, and, of course, the website, speedfreaks.tv. If you miss any of the show, you can catch up on our YouTube page. And if you want to listen to it, go to the website. Again, speedfreaks.tv. We'll have it up there for you beginning, of course, today here with Speed Freaks. Crasher, you're hanging out there at the Media Center, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's late for a Sunday night for us to typically record this show. But looking at the interview that you did with Josef Newgarden just shortly before we started recording the show, Josef Newgarden, your winner, back-to-back winner. This guy looks like he just got out of bed and had an 8-9 hour rest or sleep. Where does this cat get his energy?
I will completely agree with you. He looked great. He sounded great. He acted great. I don't know, maybe it's just a little bit of this Groundhog Day, but in a positive way, mentality of, hey, I've been here. I've done this. I'm good with it now. So, yeah, it was just everything about him just exuded fun and just confidence all month of May. That team was on it. There was no way people were beating Team Penske this month, from the pole to the pit stop competition to today's race. Incredible.
Getting to that epic finish where, I got to be honest, I was driving back from the track to the home studio to do the show, and I could not watch the race live as it was happening, because given the fact that I had to get back here and get some pre-production done for the show, Crasher stayed there at the race to see the finale and, of course, to interview Josef Newgarden. But Statman, of course, is there on his couch, probably taking in some Cavassier as he's watching. Josef Newgarden was back-to-back. Richard C. Suave, who knows what the hell he was doing. Richard was probably in his car watching the damn. I watched the last 2 laps in the car on my phone with my daughter in the back. Yes, we pulled over on the side of the road so I could watch those 2 last laps.
I was just going to say, please clarify.
Yes. Yeah. Hold it up. Going at 465. Hey, we pulled over to the side of the road and watched those last 2 laps. And I didn't even think at the time, Stat, that Pato O'Ward, who, again, was leading with that last lap to go, had that. It didn't even come to me that Pato pulled into the lead just a little too early. For those that were following the race, may have thought the same thing, Statman.
Yeah, I thought he practiced or rehearsed with 5 laps to go. He passed Newgarden and went into the lead, jumped up, and looked like he decided that he wanted to be in second place. So he got in second and moved up on Newgarden again. I thought this was all a foregone conclusion. But Newgarden came back. 2 passes for the lead on the last lap of the Indy 500, delayed 4 hours, run 3 hours, and they're still with minutes to go, seconds to go. They were still deciding who was going to win the thing. An incredible race. Some stupidity on the part of drivers that should have been less stupid as they ran the thing. And but the last 2 laps were the last 5 laps were a great show. I thought it was wonderful. The only thing that disappointed me, and I'm taking a lot of time here, and I'm sorry, but the only thing that disappointed me was when they talked to O'Ward finally, the first thing out of his mouth was to blame bad driving on the part of other drivers. If he stops doing that, maybe he'll be a good driver. But as long as somebody's always else at fault for him not getting what he wants at the conclusion, he's a drama queen.
Oh, that is something I did not hear. So that's very interesting for you to point out. He did bring that up again when he was up at the media center, talking about a lot of mental errors, a lot of stupidity out on the track. And of course, we saw that in a lot of the first half of this race, the Indy 500. But interesting that was the first thing out of his mouth on NBC.
Yeah, a lot of self-inflicted wounds out there with these drivers. There was a lot of combo or triple, bam, bam, bam from other drivers. It was the self-inflicted. Richie, your observations with that finale with Pato O'Ward, the crowd was going bananas for Pato O'Ward when he grabbed the lead, and thought this might be the time, the first Mexican to win the Indy 500, Suave.
Yeah, I thought immediately when he made that pass for the lead prior to the white flag, I said to myself, oh no, he made that move too early.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He made that move too early. And the thing I thought he did, which is I believe it was with 3 to go, he looked, I believe it, I don't remember if it was to the inside or the outside of Josef Newgarden to maybe go for the lead then. I think it was on the back stretch, and he didn't do it. He backed off. And when he pulled that off, I was like, okay, well, he's just trying to see if he can make that move on the last lap. And that's what I thought he was going to do. I think everybody thought he was going to do that, and he didn't do it. He went way too early, and he cost himself his chance to win his first ever Indianapolis 500. It'll come, Pato. It'll come. He's too good of a driver to not have it happen. And I feel like every big time crash, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but all these drivers who have won the Indianapolis 500, most of the time, they've dealt with heartbreak like Pato has the last several years, right? Like it just eventually it'll come. He just has to keep at it. And I'm bummed he didn't win today. But the one thing people aren't talking about today, I didn't hear any about it. No cheating about Josef Newgarden. Nobody cares.
True.
Nobody cares. Those fans loved it. They absolutely loved it. Crash, I don't know. You were there. It seemed like everybody in the stands was cheering and nobody cared about the cheating scandal because it was such a great finish of the race.
Yep. St. Pete is now in the rearview mirror. Abso-freaking-lutely.
I will say this. Again, I was there for the first 150 laps with our 10-year-old, which it was her first Indy 500, and she was just ecstatic, a little pissed off the old man that we need to get out of there early, so we had to get back and handle some production. But when they introduced Roger Penske there at the start of the race, I was specifically listening for boos, and there were noticeable boos amongst the 300,000. I was there on the front stretch, and you could hear people booing Roger Penske. I mean, it wasn't outlandish, but cheers and boos for Roger Penske as he commanded the start your engines. But getting back to what you said, Richie, when Josef Newgarden won back-to-back 500s and he went up in the crowd, they were chanting Josef Newgarden. I didn't hear any boos on TV. It was as if done. Well, I guess he won this. I guess he won this legitimately. But did any of you notice with Rossi when they interviewed Rossi after the race, there was a pause in Rossi's voice when he said something to the effect of, Josef Newgarden, I just don't know how. Anyway, just something like that. Like Alexander Rossi had was there something there?
He had something against the Penske triumvirate, even in qualifying last weekend, where he said that they irritated him, and he wanted to knock them off the front row. Then, so I would imagine that there's a lot of, we're Team Penske and you're not, and he was anxious to get beyond that and kind of put them in their place. There were the top three cars, or at least the cars that were fighting at the end, all were fast enough to win, and Newgarden was in the right place at the right time and got that win, snatched it out of the hands of Pato O'Ward.
Yeah, essentially, you've got those last 20, 30 laps of which the cream has risen, and you had absolute expert championship drivers in the front. Like you said, Statman, any one of them could have taken this lead. At that point, it kind of does come down to timing and who makes the right moves at the right time. So, and that's exactly what we saw play out here today.
Yeah, and that could have been the hesitation, since O'Ward and Rossi were teammates. It could have been the hesitation. Maybe he was just wanting O'Ward to win, and he didn't. And it was frustrating for him and the Aero McLaren team.
Freak Nation coming up next. Crasher had a chance to catch up with your back-to-back Indy 500 winner, Josef Newgarden. And again, you'll be blown away at his demeanor. This guy just spent 3 hours on the track in one of the most intense races of his life.
After a 4-hour rain delay. I think it was day first here in the media center.
Quickly.
The 12 hours of Indy was today.
There you go. Josef Newgarden, your 2024 Indy 500 champion, joins us next. Speed Freaks Pitch, Lucas Oil Studios, right here on MAV TV.